Anya from the other side of the pond. Just going to preemptively say that while I managed to find an NFL bar in both Madrid and Barcelona in consecutive weeks, not really sure about a lot of the games. So take my picks for, with a grain of salt. But regardless, these two guys kept us up to speed over the last 2 weeks. I appreciate you guys doing that. And we're just going to get right into the week 5 preview, recap. Jesus, I'm rusty. Colts and Broncos.
Yeah,
We're
Rusty. Let's
just
talk about Mr. Russ.
Mr. Russ.
Oh,
So
God damn it.
Broncos 3-point favorites. I don't know how much longer we are going to see them as favorites in any games of consequence, at least for the foreseeable future. The Colts, the lowly Colts, win this one 12-9. Not a single touchdown scored, despite the fact that Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson combined for over 80 pass attempts. Just absolutely bananas. J Rob, I feel like we just give you the floor to cry about the Broncos every week because they're just going to continue to be on primetime. But I'll just toss it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest shining light is the fact that it's now October and I am no longer obligated to watch football if it sucks. So I can throw on the Colorado Avalanche, watch a real team win some games, enjoy hockey. I'm not forced to bleed my eyes out every fucking Monday or Sunday night to these stupid, awful. The play calling's terrible. The O line's terrible. We have so many injuries. And the biggest concern to me is I feel like they've already lost the locker room. The fact that KJ Hamler, your wide receiver 3, but maybe like 4th or 5th on the target depth chart, is slamming his helmet on the ground after a play. Excuse me. I know you can be passionate, and I know it's the competitive spirit, but I feel like you don't show that level of frustration if there's already things like boiling up to that
And it's
point.
early.
And
It's
it's
early to
early.
be showing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's losing his shit like that makes it seem like practices aren't probably going as well either. Like it seems like this is a repeat of things in order to get that frustrated that quickly. And so, yeah, Hackett. There's no way Hackett has a job on this team at the end of the year. I feel like it's already,
No.
dude. I feel like it's already so bad that it's just a PR thing at this point. Like even if they come back and end up being like 8-8, are they really saying like, yeah, we want to double down, like bring him back? They're in
He
panic.
has
Denver
no
will go in
ties
panic
to the
mode.
ownership at this point.
He has no
I can
ties
see
to
them doing that.
ownership, but all things being equal, he's a first-time head coach. He is a first-time play caller. I think he will get a little bit of a longer leash than one season. I mean,
They
I
had to bring someone in to have him check with them to make sure that he was okay with the call that Hackett was going to play. Like, just like I got the go ahead to go for it on 4th down and throw and fucking pick. Like I just
oh,
the dude's already being relegated to figurehead at this point. There's no reason to hold on to him. He'll sit on the
I
corner at
think that's a
Walmart
positive
and
sign. I think that's a positive sign that they are already now. We'll see how long it takes for them to potentially shift play calling duties away from him. But I think that's a positive sign that they are not just like, this is the structure, this is what it is. Like they're willing to adapt, bring in new ideas, have him, check with his spotter before throwing a challenge flag, whatever you need to do. But I think that's fine. It's 5
There's
games.
there's one
It's
big
5
issue with that. I'm all for him adjusting, except the one person that needs to adjust, I feel like is not going to adjust, and that's Russell Wilson. When
Well,
push
so
comes to
that's
shove, that dude goes back to his old habits. He's a glorified Russell Wilson or glorified Matt Stafford. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. He fucking does the same things when a play needs to happen, and it's not working.
at least
that to
Matt
me is
Stafford's
the
humble though.
No, 100%. Oh, I'm not comparing
yeah.
them like apples to
The
apples, but
the
just
Lions will do that. Well, the Patriots will do that to the Lions. We can get to that later. But
Yeah.
that's the difference between Stafford and Wilson to me is that Wilson thinks that he is a deity at this point, and Stafford knows that, hey, I came like Eminem's still bigger in Detroit than I am, so let's be humbled, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, he's being paid like one though, and that's the problem. So that's my biggest takeaway from where we're at right now with the Broncos. It's 5 games into a brand new uh, coaching staff. Like Hackett's learning on the fly a little bit with this stuff. They have a ton of expectations. The fact that they gave Russ that contract, and 5 games in now, it's looking real
Well,
bad.
Real
and they didn't
bad.
need to. It's not like Russ was going
Exactly.
anywhere this season. So
They
what was
should
he
have
going to
done
do?
the Stafford formula.
Play into a bigger deal? There's no way that it was going to be a bigger deal than he got. So just let it play out. I'm sure
Right.
Russ was probably not as amenable to that, but yeah, there was zero reason to give him that contract at this stage in the game. You had him under contract. Let's see how he adjusts to the new system. And hey, is this the guy that's been holding the Seahawks back for the last 3 years? Because guess what? Geno Smith's the highest rated passer right now.
He
So
looks like
maybe
a
it was.
dog.
Dude, Gino's fucking balling. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the Russ contract right now. I mean, I know we talked about it previously, but realistically, like when is the first out for them? That makes sense. Like
2025. It's 3 years.
20,
There's no way they're getting out of it before then.
but 2025. Yeah, okay, so that would be a 18 million cap hit or dead cap hit. So if they, well, that's a post June 1 cut if they trade. Yeah, regardless. So, I mean, you've got this for the remainder of this season and 2 more years, regardless. And I don't know, man. I, the fact that we talked about, were they getting Russ of the last 18 months versus Russ of the last 10 years or 8.5 years? Like, this looks bad. And now he's hurt. And,
Is he hurt, or is that an excuse
It's
for
God's plan.
him to take some time
yeah,
away,
God's plan. God's
hang
plan.
out in LA for a little bit, see if Odell's still there, and let's try to sweep this under the rug. But damn, that it's not his injury may be there. It's his decision making, and that's
Oh,
what the difference is right now. He just, I mean, KJ Hamler, I get that he's pissed off. He also only has 4 targets on the year, so it's not like Russ is typically looking his direction. Yeah, he managed to be wide open in the end zone, but if you're averaging 1 target per game, then I can see Russ overlooking him. But throwing those 2 interceptions are just backbreaking, and there's absolutely no reason for them. And that's not what Russ does other than in the Super Bowl. And watching frickin' Richard Sherman on, I'll do the plug,
Thursday.
Amazon Prime. He was livid like he lost the Super Bowl all over again, and it was fantastic. So,
Yeah.
run the damn ball. You have Melvin Gordon. I get that you don't have Javante anymore, but it's not like Russ hasn't carried a team, quite frankly, in my opinion, really his entire career. He's had a
No,
solid defense around him. He's had some top tier wide receivers. He has the top tier wide receivers again, but this was his opportunity to show that he was a baller and he was worth that money, and they gave him the money before they proved that he was a baller, especially
yeah.
10 years into his career.
Yeah. So it's a tough one.
Are you puking
Broncos.
right now, J Rob? Is this just too
I think
hard?
he's petting a dog.
Yeah, I'm dog sitting a husky, and she was being very pushy about needing attention, and to avoid her howling at me, I
Oh,
had
so
to-
it's kind of like Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
pretty
exactly.
much very high maintenance. Oh,
Um,
Sophie.
So the Broncos fall to 2-3. The Colts improved to 2-2-1, but I don't
Can
think
we?
anybody.
I mean, can we just real quickly say how disappointed we all are that they aren't 1-2-2 right now? Because that would have been the best
That would have
scenario
been
out
pretty
of that
awesome.
game. I was definitely rooting for that. Russ, bring it back, get them a tying field goal,
Yeah.
and that was, I mean, it was realistic, right? There was 2.5, 3 minutes left in the game. All they need to do is kick field goal, and then they throw an incompletion in the end zone. So I still don't understand the Colts. They're favored for some reason this week against the Jags. I haven't seen anything to say that that's the case.
No.
Matt Ryan looks like Daniel Jones out there, consistently fumbling, consistently throwing interceptions. I think he has 7 fumbles on the year already. He looks damn old, and I don't think the Colts got what they were begging for. I don't know that they're begging for Carson Wentz back, but this is Frank Reich's got to be pissing down his leg a little bit here because he's had a couple opportunities and all he's missing is quarterback, and they haven't been able to hit on that.
Well, I mean, that's more of a Chris Ballard thing than anything. And he's going to get the benefit of the doubt. And maybe the Colts bottom out and they end up with Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or Will Levis and whatever
Other
they figured
than
out.
they play the Titans, they play the Jags, and they play the Texans. So
Hey,
it's hard to bottom out.
I think all three of those teams are a lot better than their records and maybe the perception of them might indicate. The Jags, especially. I think the Jags are going to give someone a fight every single week for the most part.
Well, yeah,
But
because they're playing the Colts for the third time second time in 4 weeks. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on from this one. I'm sure J Rob is done talking about the Broncos, but we'll talk about them more later. So I think if we're not too concerned about chronological order here, staying within the AFC West, the Raiders and Chiefs on Monday night, really, really good game. Chiefs end up pulling it out 30-29. They don't cover the spread, but it's a division game, right? Like as bad as the Raiders have been, they still obviously have talent. The Chiefs didn't look like world beaters necessarily, but
The
I think
Chiefs
these.
didn't. The Travis Kelce's did.
Yeah, well, yeah. Kelsey, I don't know, man. I mean, I think maybe the Chiefs told us all we needed to know that they're about who is the most important to that offense with shipping out Tyreek Hill and keeping that guy. But yeah, Kelsey's unreal. Mahomes still made a couple like just insane plays in this game. I think I'm not necessarily worried about the fact that the Raiders were really bad going into this week and it was a close game, like from the Chiefs' perspective anyway. They're 4-1 now. I think they're in the driver's seat and they're not really going to look back in the AFC West. What do you think?
I'm with you there. I mean, we were expecting a little bit of a drop off from the Chiefs, and I'd say we still have seen it, but this isn't uncharacteristic for them to get, blown out of the gates and then come back. I mean, you look at
Yeah.
the Texans in the playoffs, 3 years ago, and 24-0. It's like, oh, that was cute, and they lose 41-24.
Yeah.
There was at no point that I was actually concerned that the Raiders were going to pull away with this game. I was looking to live bet it. Unfortunately, I was at the airport, so thank you. Rules and regulations that is
Thanks,
apparently,
Obama.
yeah, illegal to do. But the Raiders are the Raiders. This is Josh McDaniels' team. I mean, we can tie him all the way back to the Broncos just to really pile on J-Rob right now and say this isn't unexpected. Like, they don't put teams away. They find a way to just keep things interesting, which is great for football. Don't get me wrong. This game was entertaining. I hated their decision to go for two. I look at this and I say the only thing that can happen in that situation is you give the Chiefs the lead or you give the Chiefs motivation to be aggressive. You turn it into a four down drive or a 4-down possession drive, whatever you want to call it.
And there were still like 4.5 minutes left, right?
There's 4.5 minutes left, and at that point you say they're going to be aggressive one way or the other, right? They got Patrick Mahomes. They're going to put it in the hands of their offense because they already proved they were going to do that going for the 2-point conversion, which I was okay with that one because that makes it a 2-score game versus you put the ball in your best offensive player's hand and say make this a 2-possession game versus putting it on your kicker's foot to say, hey, can Derek Carr do this? Maybe he can, maybe he can't. That one I was okay with, but the Raiders, you were either giving them motivation or you were saying all you have to do is run out the clock. And the most surprising thing for me was the Raiders got the ball back with the opportunity to win this game. And maybe if Devontae Adams was a little bit more disciplined, he would have been able to get both feet in bounds in field goal range. No, I'm just kidding. The end of that game was absolutely insane. Not for the Devontae Adams other thing that I'm sure J-Rob will get into, but watching Hunter Renfrow take out Devontae Adams like he was a freaking sack of potatoes was just so Raiders. So Raiders. If only Chandler Jones could do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, and to cap it off, like you said, so Raiders, but Devontae Adams after the game, uh, but pushes a photographer. Was that person a photographer? Is that what that
He
dude
was
Yeah,
was?
he
holding
was
a
like
tripod or something
he
like
was like a
that.
field
Yeah.
crew guy
Okay.
with some
He
form
had a
of
weapon, I
media
think. He was holding a
capturing.
giant metal thing. Devontae was probably scared for his life.
Yeah, not a good look. I'm sure he will pay a fine. Um,
They're talking suspension potentially.
really?
Yeah.
Oh God,
I mean,
Ugh.
it's
for
misdemeanor
shoving
assault at
somebody.
this point. You're doing it on national television. You got to protect that brand, right? I mean, we all see
Yeah.
what happens when assaults get caught on television or on camera in the NFL.
Well,
Comes back
yeah,
to bite them.
Well, it was a
yeah,
guy, so we know the suspension won't be, or will be more, since the NFL doesn't care about abusing women.
right.
Maybe the guys one will be a longer suspension.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of abuse, the Patriots and the Lions, who had so much promise, so much promise.
They're still the third highest scoring team in the league.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
one more thing about the Raiders, really quick. I've officially come to acceptance that the Chiefs are going to win the division. Step whatever in the coping process.
yeah. Thanks for coming around, Josh.
Yeah, I took a big dose of copium this weekend and got through it. The best part is just seeing the Raiders fucking suck with Josh McDaniels. Fuck that guy. He ruined the Broncos. I hope he ruins the Raiders. So watching him just implode before my eyes, it's a sight to be seen. So I'll cheers to that.
Yeah.
Denver
Cheers
sucks,
to
but at
that.
least the Raiders suck harder.
Yeah, cheers to that. All right, the Pats 29-0 over the Lions. I mean, with Bailey Zappi, Toaster, what do we need to take away from this other than Bill Belichick is just still can pull these out of his ass every once in a while.
Well, it's not even every once in a while. Their defense has been consistently solid. They lose some close games. We've already talked about the Dolphins. Yeah, the score looked very different than what the outcome of the game was. Whenever you give up a defense or an offensive touchdown to the defense, then the score is going to look a little out of hand. The the Patriots take care of bad teams, and that's why they've been able to hang in there because the AFC East was bad for 17 damn years, so makes it a little easier, right? I was not threatened by this game in the slightest. Obviously, you had banged up Amon-Ra St. Brown. You had no Swift. Jamal Williams is still not there. So did I think that Bill Belichick was going to be able to take care of Jared Goff? I assumed since he's already done it once on the biggest stage that he'd be able to do it again in one of the smaller stages. And Bailey Zappi, his numbers don't look amazing, but he was solid. I'm not going to call a quarterback controversy by any means just because of draft capital. What I will say is there a controversy that Mac Jones was drafted too high for him to be successful for Bill Belichick? Because
Yeah.
he cannot hit on first round, even second round skill players. He needs a third rounder, fourth rounder. He needs to take DBs and offensive tackles in the first round because then he can handle them. If he starts going after skill players, they just collapse. And I mean, Mac Jones has 5 interceptions on the year, so it's
To
not
be
like he's been.
fair, calling McCorkle Jones skilled is very, very generous. So I think he knew what he was doing when he made that pick.
I would have before the Gritty's probably going to take a hit now with the high ankle sprain.
Yeah. Look, Bailey Zappi, you're right. He played like exactly what you want a backup quarterback to do. I think that's sort of his profile with his physical skill set and everything. In no way, shape, or form is he a better quarterback than Mac Jones. We need to all just pump the brakes. Like we are so
We'll save that for Skylar Thompson. Yeah, good call.
yeah, but like in the NFL, we get so caught up in this kind of game. Like every fucking year, every week, we're so anxious to do this kind of stuff. Mac Jones, as soon as he's healthy, is going to be the starter. Obviously, there's no controversy there. And I think the way that Mike White was like the truth last year for the Jets, I hope Bailey Zappi turns this performance into like a very long and lucrative career
Maybe
taking
he can
very few
be
hits.
QB for, like the Cleveland Browns just throwing out a team, or maybe the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe this is just what Bill Belichick does. One thing to point out here, too, though, is the Lions lost 5 DBs during the game. So it wasn't like he was throwing against the cream of the crop, especially considering the Lions had given up the most points as well.
Yeah.
But losing 5 DBs in any game, this doesn't say much for me for either team other than, is Dan Campbell for real? Or is Dan Campbell what we thought he was going to be 2 years ago?
I still like the guy. I think culture matters. I think his approach and his humility is important. Like the fact that he's so willing to embrace analytics despite like what you would think of him as, like this hardo, like old school guy. He's I think maybe this is too big of a job for him as a head coach. I like the guy, but we'll see. I mean, they're still, keep in mind, year two of like a full on rebuild here, right? But yeah, it's the fact that they're 1-4. I think is a little. It's not a good look for him for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like he is like the Mark Jackson of the NFL, where like him being Detroit's head coach right now is like necessary for the rebuild. But you're seeing that like inflection point where it's like,
Yeah,
all right, man, we're gonna pass the torch. Like you built that hard culture, you built that tough nosed football. Now we need an X's and O guy to
yeah,
come in. Similar to Mark Jackson. It's like, hey man, you taught everyone how to play really good defense and like hustle and play with each other. And we're gonna get a guy that knows the X's and O's now.
yeah.
So
What
And
the
can
fuck
you
he's
just
doing?
keep not closing out games so that way we get a higher draft pick so the next guy
Yeah,
comes in with a
right.
top tier quarterback? Okay.
Plus,
yeah,
there's only so many times a coach can say like, "This game's on me," before it's just like, "Is it on you?" or like, "Did you ever have it in the first place?" Like,
yeah.
what are
Tough,
we doing here? Yeah.
tough look for our guy Dan Campbell. All right, that was a lot of talk about a game that was 29-0. But moving on to maybe one of the more interesting games, or at least in my mind, and scores was the Eagles at Cardinals. Um, Eagles end up winning this game 20-17. The Cardinals miss a field goal at the very end. Um, this one was just like I think the Eagles maybe, or the Cardinals got a little lucky in that the Eagles were on the road and like weren't as sharp as they normally are. Um, but that montage of the Cardinals kicker in pregame from like that exact same spot, just like pushing all of those kicks the exact same way and then doing it right as like right before it happened, I was just dying,
Practice makes
dying.
perfect.
Yeah. I really don't know. Like this, I'm not too concerned by the fact that the Eagles were 5.5 point favorites, and they basically won this game because the Cardinals kicker can't make a kick. But I think they're going to be okay. The Cardinals, like, I guess, where are we on them overall? Because as we sit now, they're 2-3, so they're kind of in that middle cluster of NFL teams from a record standpoint. Um, Kyler's been up and down, like really up and down. Like I don't think he's played like at this level the entire time. It's either been like making crazy plays out of his ass or just like the dumbest fucking play possible, which I, I don't really know how to categorize the play that ultimately led to the kick in this one, which was he's scrambling, he runs, he slides short of the first down marker. They didn't have any timeouts, so they spiked the ball and set
It's
up the
not
kick.
his fault his knees are closer to the ball than every other quarterback's.
Yeah, I mean, like I put that more on Cliff, honestly. I feel like in that scenario, you need to have a play ready to go where, hey, if we don't get this first down, but we're close, like, what can we go to that's quick, get up to the line? Because how many seconds were left on the clock at that point?
22.
That's plenty of time.
I put this on Cliff quite a bit if it's true that in Kyler's ear they were saying clock it, clock it, clock it, because at that point
I'm sure they were.
the extra second or two doesn't change the outcome of the next play or two you're going to run. Cliff straight up came out and said it that they were basically going to kick from that uh, position anyways. What it does change is as a former professional, oh wait, current professional, former kicker. And you can bleep out
Yeah,
the
you got to get the
you can
sequencing right there.
you can bleep out the the former if you want to. The difference there is you had 5 seconds of what the fuck is going on. You have 40 seconds to get that kickoff, right? If
Yeah.
you get that, if you're down short on fourth down, Kyler spiking it right away is absolutely a handicap for that kicker coming in. And we're talking about not, Matt Prater. We're not talking about the dude that they brought in to be their kicker for the season. This is a dude that was cut from the Chiefs. He's a signed from the practice squad to come in. You put the ball in your best player's hand, and
It's a tough position
unfortunately,
to put that
the
kid in.
best player is suspended for one more game, so they had to put it in Kyler's hands, and then they put it in the kicker's hands. But coming out there and you've already lost 5 seconds of like you when you spike that ball, the kicker's not ready to run on the field at that point. He's like, okay, yep, everyone's thinking that we're running a play right now. He's got to do the oh shit moment, and now got to fall back on his training, which to your point was missing pushing wide right because that's what he did all pregame.
Yeah, and the Eagles iced him too, didn't they?
The Eagles, I don't believe the Eagles iced him. Did they?
I thought maybe I'm
I'm
thinking
pretty
of a different
confident they
game.
didn't.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just it was poor execution all around. All around. You do blame Cliff for being in Kyler's ear, but if you're paying somebody what Kyler's getting paid, he's got to. I mean, Zach Wilson put his neck out for a touchdown earlier. You got to get the first down and
But
be sure of that.
I don't know, because I feel like this is what we talk about with Kyler and the Cardinals all the time is like his durability is sort of the key to this whole thing. And if him sliding short and ultimately they lose a game in week 5 of a season, but it saves him a hit that you never know what could
We're
happen,
talking about
right?
his knees and his ankles. Obviously, you can come back from a head injury. Every single football player said that to this point, right? So slide head first, get the extra yard. No, I say that in jest and a little bit, but at the same time, does everybody not say hit me in my head because I can come back from that? You hit me in my knee, you hit me in my ankle, I'm out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, he for sure, and he had space. It wasn't like it was a super congested like area that he slid into. He could have easily dove. Now, Kyler is what, 4'4", so like if he dive and
Carry the 12th.
I think he would have gotten past the marker easily, and we wouldn't have been in this position. But yeah, it was bad execution all around. I think you can see how disjointed that offense is without DeAndre Hopkins. And
Well, and my big takeaway was watching him on that comeback drive. That was why I had actually picked the Cardinals to cover in this game. Was he finally played free? Like watching him execute in that 2 minute warning,
oh yeah,
he was just saying, "I'm just being a baller right now,"
that's when he's at his
and
best.
that's when he's at his best. Exactly when he's not thinking through everything. And he looked. I mean, he looked like a legitimate quarterback at that time, where he was just executing, not thinking about things. And I do think that Cliff holds this entire team back, quite frankly.
And talking about somebody that just got a fresh 5-year deal, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see if the Bidwills end up biting that bullet, because you have to think that Kime and Kingsbury are tied together to some degree. I don't know if their contract details are public or not, but they just need to bite that bullet and I think rip the Band-Aid, right? Like just get rid of them and figure it out. But it's rough. Even worse than all the Kyler drama this offseason and the contract that they gave him. The fact that they extended those two jackos, like that's just makes no sense.
And they did that first.
And they did that part first. Yeah. Oh fuck. Okay. I want to get us through these the preview or the recap, soon here. I do think it's worth mentioning the Cowboys They beat the Rams 22-10. Cooper Rush has, I mean, they're not really asking him to do too much, which I think is great. And the rest of the team's executing. That defense looks fucking awesome. Micah Parsons is an animal. Do we need to start giving the Cowboys some respect here at 4-1? I mean, I know
No,
they're no,
no.
you're not buying in.
Well, giving the Cowboys respect involves giving Mike McCarthy respect, and I just can't do that. I'm sorry. No, I mean, Cooper Rush had a 16.7 QBR. He's thrown 5 interceptions. None of them have been caught. Like, it's just they are skating by, and we're gonna get into this game, so I won't say too much about it now. But there's a reason Cooper Rush is starting on Sunday night, and it's not because they think that he's gonna win this game.
Fair, fair. J Rob, any takeaways from this one really? I mean, like, are we how worried should we be about the Rams? Maybe that's the better
That
question.
that was my
That's the better
takeaway. Is
question.
like, yeah, Dallas is running the ball for the first time in what feels like a year. It seems like they fell in love with Dak wanting to throw the ball, like paid him the big contract. They wanted to use him. And with Rush, they're running the shit out of the football. Zeke and Pollard look good. And yeah, Rush isn't doing too much, but I think it's more like
They're not
the
asking them
Rams
to.
aren't, yeah, but yeah, and I think the bigger takeaway is the Rams. Like, you let a Cooper Rush led team run all over you, dominate you on essentially both ends of the ball, 22-10, like 2 possession game at home
Hmm.
as the favorites is not, that's not good. And Stafford continues to just stare down Cup. He doesn't look at anybody else. I think as good as Cup is, like, that's not going to be sustainable later on in the season when the good teams can start keying off on that even more. That I'm very concerned about the Super Bowl hangover for the Rams.
Well, and where the fuck is Allen Robinson? Like,
I think he's in Chicago.
yeah, I mean, I know that the Bears got a lot of shit for how bad Allen Robinson was last year, but I mean, we're seeing the same stuff here to some degree. I
Oh,
mean,
is this
he
the
is just,
problem? It's Allen Robinson the second. Is that a different Allen Robinson, or are we talking about the same dude?
yeah, yeah, same
Oh,
guy,
it's the
same
same
guy.
guy. Okay.
I mean, he was supposed to be like the key piece for them, right? Like they gave him a pretty decent deal.
He was supposed to be the Odell Beckham the second. Yeah.
He, yeah, or the fourth, or I don't know.
And stays just
Uh,
twice the disappointment.
yeah, exactly, and way more expensive. I'm legitimately concerned about them, and not in a way that I think they're a terrible team and like they won't have a say in the playoff race by the end of this thing, but they're sure as shit not like playing like the best team in that division. And I mean, where would you rank them right now? But obviously, with the idea that they could turn shit around and like we'll be fine later on. But like after 5 weeks, where do you put them in that division? I mean, third or fourth?
No, they're still second to me because of the
you
talent.
you
If
think?
if
Okay,
Stafford, and I'm not saying that Stafford will change this because I mean, at some
he's
point
been bad.
you are the dog that you can't teach new tricks like you said. But he had 3 turnovers in this game, took 5 sacks. Like they need to figure out that offensive line and or a scheme to say, let's get the ball out quicker, and it can't be at a Cooper Cup or Tyler Higbee every single fucking time because that's all they're damn doing right now. I don't know
Yeah,
how Cup is averaging 17.9 yards on his 7 receptions. It's because that dude can fucking run and he is fun to
dude,
watch.
that
But it's
75-yard touchdown
yeah.
was awesome.
But they don't have the time to open anything up downfield, and it's these little dinks and dunks, and they need something explosive. They need something to change, and they needed that last year, and that's where Odell
Mhm.
came in. Maybe Odell's. There's been some talks that he's still considering the Rams. It's probably about a month away before he makes his decision, but they need something to change, and the we saw the Bengals be successful, that a wide receiver can be greater than a better offensive lineman, and maybe that's the trade deadline. Maybe it's a DJ Moore. Maybe the Panthers blow some shit up. Like who knows what's going to
Yeah,
happen here? But I still there's just too much talent on that team for me to say they're anything worse than second in that division.
yeah, fair enough. All right, I before we start to transition, I do want to touch on the other the third 4-1 team in the NFC East, the Giants, who pull off a crazy win in London against the Packers. I don't think the Giants are good. I will preface it by saying I don't think the Giants are good, but I think they deserve a lot of credit for being 4-1. And this game maybe says more about how we should be evaluating the Packers right now than anything. But the fact that the Giants, even they lost Barkley for a portion of this game, he obviously came back and scored that late touchdown. But um, Brian Dayball's got the shit rolling, man. Like the offense looks exactly how an offense should look when your quarterback is Daniel Jones. It's just a shit ton of play action. It's a shit ton of misdirection. And they're just like spamming the easy button. They're like, we're not going to ask him to drop back, like do a straight drop back at any point in time, unless we absolutely have to. And they're playing solid. Like for a team that honestly I thought was going to be an absolute dumpster fire, they're solid. So are they 4-1 solid? No, but I still think it's worth mentioning this win over the Packers. Do you feel better about the Giants or worse about the Packers after this one?
Give it to you, J Rob.
Uh, it's kind of tough because, like, are you ever really going to count Aaron Rodgers out?
No.
No. But those receivers do not look good. And he does not look comfortable throwing to anyone that's not named Randall Cobb. And Randall Cobb's like 45 years old. So, like, yeah, Dayball's looking great. I think if you're the Giants, regardless of your record, you're super excited about, regardless of the outcome of the rest of the year, you found your coach, at least seemingly found a guy that can work with what he has, can make them better. And there's something to be said about someone who can call a game and not get bored sticking to that plan. Like it's probably easy to get bored hitting the easy button, doing the checkdowns, doing the easy plays, but
They're creative though
yeah,
with it. Like you give Mike Kafka credit, man. I mean, I think he was the perfect person to bring in because if Dayball wasn't going to call plays, you marry his mind and like the things that they did in Buffalo with Josh Allen with the stuff that Kafka can bring over from Andy Reid and the Chiefs offense. It's like it's a nice blend. Hopefully they don't trick themselves into thinking that they need to pay Daniel Jones, right? I mean that's kind of the big piece.
And that's where I was going with this is what the Giants would be if Daniel Jones just held on to the damn ball. He only has 3 turnovers this year, which is light years ahead of where he's been
So
in
you're
previous
saying
years.
regression to the mean is coming.
He only has 3 touchdowns. He's still putting the ball on the ground. He just hasn't lost them. So to me, that is the difference. I do like what Dayball's doing. What bothers me is for the Packers, Rodgers has lost his fire. He walked off the field after 2 batted balls to lose this game, and he's fucking smiling. That's not Aaron Rodgers. This is a dude that contemplated retirement. They brought him back at 50 million a year, which would get just about anybody back in that house. And it didn't mean anything to him. And maybe it doesn't mean anything to him because he's just like, we just got to get to the playoffs and we'll figure it out there.
True.
But that is not the Aaron Rodgers that we've had in the past, and that's what's concerning for me for the Packers. It's not that he's lost the talent, it's not that he's lost the drive, it's that he's lost the edge that made him great, and that's something that I mean Tom Brady was willing to throw away his marriage for. So that's the difference to me right now with the Packers is that Rodgers walked off that field with a smile, and he would never do that unless maybe he found a beau in London. I don't know. There's other witches there.
that stadium's gorgeous, by the way.
I love it. Can't wait to go. Good old Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. All right. Last game we'll talk about here with the recap just because it transitions nicely. But the Titans with a win over the Commanders 21-17. Carson Wentz looked really good for a good chunk of this game. And then he just did like the most Carson Wentz thing you can fucking imagine.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It really
It's
is.
like poetry in motion.
It is. It's art. It's art at this point.
Double sprained ankles, just throwing fucking picks left and right. 4 plays to get 1 yard, and it goes backwards. Oh, it's a beautiful thing, man.
It's beautiful. You love to see it, and you know what? props to Ron Rivera for after the game being asked what's wrong with the team, and he just says the quarterback.
I hate that he like reeled back on that and said he like didn't mean it today. It's like, no, stick to your guns. Make him
Yeah.
feel incompetent, insecure.
Oh, so good. It was so good. I don't think any of us feel particularly great about the Titans despite the win here. Um,
Dude, they
the
keep getting
command,
wins though. Like they're poised to win the AFC South once again. Like they keep getting it done.
I
Do you have
still
any faith in the fucking Colts?
I
Like,
still
do
have
you
the
really have
Colts
faith in the
over
oh,
Colts?
I
this.
have zero faith in the
I
Colts.
know
I have
I
more
know
faith in the
Kingston's going for the
Jags.
Jags, but
Yeah.
I
this
don't know.
offense for the Titans just like Derrick Henry's been inefficient his entire career. He needs that fourth quarter, just wear the dudes down and then blow up. And if they aren't ahead because Ryan Tannehill's sucking balls, then they're not going to have those opportunities right now. I mean, 15 of 25, 181 yards for one touchdown, took 5 sacks. Like this is against the Washington Commanders. Tannehill has zero inspiration. I don't think that it's out of the question to see Malik Willis come in at some point in this and just say, hey, now we've got a dynamic backfield because we have Malik Willis you got to worry about, and you've got Derrick Henry that you got to worry about being run over. That's
Yeah.
where I ultimately see this going because Tannehill's shown absolutely zero life through the first 5 games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're missing AJ Brown bad in that offense. Um, this was one of those, like, I think to some degree they are who we thought they were games because you look at it and the Titans and the Commanders both their actual records match their against the spread records. So, I think there's a few other games where that was also the case this week, but you know, Titans at 3-2 after playing some bad opponents, not looking great. I don't know. I'm not ready to say that they're like far away the best team in the AFC South, but the bar is very low. I will give you that.
Dude, if it's ugly, I'm taking Vrabel. Whenever games get ugly, I'm siding with Vrabel. And this whole NFL season just feels so fucking ugly in so many different ways that like it just screams another Vrabel's another division winner. So,
Yeah.
but we'll see. We will see.
And we can carry this into the Thursday night game, but congrats to Brian Robinson getting on the field.
Oh,
And,
that was awesome.
I mean, absolutely shocking to me that he's already out-carried Antonio Gibson, 9 carries to 3 carries in the first game. They both averaged under 2.5 yards per carry, so they were miserable. So I don't know why they necessarily kept giving it to Brian at that point, but that's a quick changing of the guard to take a dude that got shot twice and
Yeah.
say, hey, he's our starter now and completely underperformed. So can
Good story,
he continue to underperform against the Bears on Thursday?
Well, I guess it depends on how healthy he really is. So the Commanders are a 1-point favorite on the road here in a short week. I think it's bounced back and forth from being a pick 'em to Commanders being favored by a point now for the last few days. The Bears' run defense is the worst in the NFL. So from that perspective, yeah, I could see Brian Robinson getting going. The problem is, I don't think like the Bears will do one thing on defense, and that's take the ball away. At some point in the game, they will take the ball away, and Carson Wentz will give the ball away. Like, that's one thing that he's shown he will do. Um, I'm really interested to see how the Commanders kind of handle this whole situation with I mean, we talked about it, like Ron Rivera calling out his quarterback. It's a short week. It's not like there's a lot of time to really correct things. On the road, I just, this one, even if it was, I don't know, the Bears -3 or something, I'm probably still taking the Bears here. I don't know what my record is with them picking them this year because I honestly, like I said, have no idea what fucking happened the last 2 weeks with any of my picks or any of the games. But I just think the Bears are coming off a game where they're starting to put some stuff together offensively. Defensively, they get Jalen Johnson back, which is huge because without him, they don't have a single DB or at least a single corner that is worth a shit or has any level of NFL experience. I just can't trust the Commander. Like, I can't trust Carson Wentz on the road on a short week against what I think is a pretty decently coached team. So I'm going with the Bears in this one. I hope Brian Johnson gets some run, and if he does, I think he'll do pretty well. I just don't think it'll be enough for the Commanders to win.
J-Rob, where are you going?
So both teams are kind of like short weeks. You don't know what you're going to get with either quarterback. And I mean, I trust Fields more than Wentz just from Wentz's track record, but I'm not expecting Fields to throw the ball a fuck ton tomorrow either. I'm purely going with the Bears on this one because Carson Wentz's all-time record as a quarterback is 45, 44, and 1 right now. So for the vibes, I want him to be 45, 45, and 1. So I'm going with the Bears to win the game.
Wait, so he's 40. Okay.
He's 45, 44, and 1.
Okay, I heard that backwards.
I want him to go 500. So
okay,
taking the Bears with the +1 basically means they're going to win the game. And yeah, would love to see Carson Wentz be 45, 45, and 1.
Okay, that's a good rooting. I like that rooting interest in this one.
Oh yeah,
Toaster.
Just to keep it interesting, because this truly is a pick'em to me. I expected Washington to be the better team than the Bears this season. This is their chance to prove that they are the better team. I'm not thinking that Carson Wentz is all of a sudden going to have some sort of revival, but they have, in my opinion, a better receiving core. They don't have necessarily a better quarterback, but they have some playmakers. They can get things done. I think that either this is the absolute end of Carson Wentz if he loses to the lowly Bears, or maybe Ron Rivera kind of knew what he was doing with the slip of the tongue, and this is the motivation it needed to say, hey, guess what, on your fourth team in fucking 3 years, maybe it's not quite that bad, maybe it's the third team in 4 years, or third team in 2 years, he gets it done. This truly, the only benefit of this game is it can't be worse than the last Thursday night game. So
careful what you wish for.
Forward to that, and I will go with the Commanders.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to throw one more thing out here that I forgot, and it was totally going to be a piece of my analysis of this one. The Bears are going full color rush and are rocking their alternate, which look terrible, by the way, but their alternate orange helmets with the orange outfit. So I think that if you're going to have them as a pick'em,
was offensive.
yeah, that's what's going to put them over the top. Is they're embracing the Thursday night color rush tradition,
and it's orange for
except
spooky
they're going
season.
the opposite. You're supposed to blend into the field like the Boise State fucking Broncos. And
yeah, the Bears painted the field orange. Did I not mention that too?
Maybe everyone will think it'll be a hazard, so they'll just stay away.
Yeah, no. This to me will be a game that is again, two not very good football teams. But I think it will definitely be more entertaining than last Thursday night. I will almost stake my entire reputation on that.
I will go out right now and say there will be a touchdown. Boom, said it.
That's bold. That's bold. All right. Moving on. Sunday night, Cowboys at Eagles. Despite Cooper Rush and his efforts, the 2-4-1, well, 2 of the 3 4-1 NFC East teams match up here, and the Eagles are 6-point favorites. Toaster, why don't you lead us off on this one? Where are you going?
Alluded to it previously. There's one reason that Cooper Rush is starting this game, and then it's because there's a no-lose scenario for the Dallas Cowboys right now. They get blown out in prime time, and Cooper Rush is quarterback. They say, well, yeah, that's our second-string quarterback. Let's wait for Dak to come back healthy. They go ahead and they win this game. It's like, well, guess what? It probably wasn't at the hands of Cooper Rush. We still have Dak, but damn, we took down the last undefeated team in a divisional matchup. Kudos to undefeated. Them. Yeah. But my thing is that goddamn, that Cowboys defense is just so much fun to watch, though. The problem is the second quarter will decide this one. the Eagles just frickin' blow up in the second quarter. That was their problem against the Cardinals, was they actually scored more points outside the second quarter than they did in the second quarter, and that's why it was the closest game that they've had. I think that in a divisional game, though, they're always close, but the quarterback's going to be the problem here, and Cooper Rush has gotten away with a lot of interceptions. Like I said, 16.7 QBR in the last game wasn't a victory because of him. I think that the Eagles are just too talented for the Cowboys.
J-Rob?
I'm going to Eagles here as well. As good as that front seven for Dallas is and how well they get to the quarterback, I think the dynamic aspect of Jalen Hurts being able to run a lot of misdirection, a lot of read options, it doesn't allow a guy like Parsons to key off as easily. And obviously he's a freak, but I think their offense is an offense that can kind of negate some of his game breaking ability by either running away from it or doing all this deception or just throwing it to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith on the outside against corners that have shown they've gotten burned before. That, yeah, I mean, the Eagles are a wagon, man. I like the Eagles covering -6.
Yeah, to your point, J. Rob, it's like, do you get depth or do you get contain? And that's where you Hurts is too dynamic to get both of those.
Yeah, they're scary.
I like the Eagles as well in this one. I love what they have done with Jalen Hurts and his development and playing to his strengths while he learns some of the other nuances of the position. Is he ever going to be a straight drop back passer that slices you up from the pocket? No. But they have such a dynamic offense, and this idea that Hurts is like so quick with his decision making where he's like 1, 2, if it's not there, I'm running, right? And there's just no ego involved in it. It's I'm going to toss it up to A.J. Brown if he's open, Devontae Smith if he's open, Dallas Goedert if it's part of the read. If not, I'm fucking running it. And he is so good. And he, like Josh Allen, I think we've mentioned before, but like he just never really seems to take hits that are significant, right? Like
he's a tank. He's a big dude.
He's a tank, and he absorbs hits and falls really well. Like I love what they're doing.
Faller.
He's a really good faller. Yeah, can we quantify that? Is there a way to? Does that
there's
factor into the PFF ratings?
There should be, because they're in hockey and football. Like there's an art to taking hits and avoiding hits, and like there's an art to it.
Totally. But I love what the Eagles
has a negative grade on that one, by the
way. Yeah. I love what the Eagles are doing. I think the -6 would probably be higher if it weren't for the fact that the Eagles played a close game last week and the Cowboys have maintained their record. I think the Eagles going back home, like I said, I don't think the score of the Cardinals game last week is actually indicative of who the Eagles are. I think they're better than that from what we've seen the rest of the games that they've played. And -6, I think, like you said, Toaster, this could be.
If it's under a touchdown, give it to me. I'm taking it.
For sure. All right, Monday night. The fucking Broncos are on again.
God fucking
I feel your pain, man, because trust me, the Bears play way more in primetime than they should, and it's super annoying. But the Broncos at the Chargers 4.5-point favorites. Chargers have looked pretty mid, if I'm being honest, over the last few weeks. But we obviously know how the Broncos have looked. J-Rob, we'll let you lead us off on this one. I feel like I know
Chargers by 1,000,000. I mean, what more is there to talk about other than the dumpster fire that is the fucking Denver Broncos? It's a bad contract with a bad coach, with an injured team. They're in the top 3 of teams with the most injured. Teams with the highest payroll of injured players. So so many people on their payroll are injured right now, or like high paid players. And with the Chargers running the shit out of the football last week, and I know the Browns. I mean, the Browns are a pretty good defense. They ran the crap out of the football. I think it helps the Chargers realize, oh shit, we don't have to rely on Herbert 24/7, and I think they're going to do a heavy dose of running and just kill him on play action. Herbert's a freak. Herbert's a god. Denver has zero identity. zero healthy players. That yeah, the fact that it's only 4.5 to me is actually kind of crazy. But I'm still taking the chart. Yeah, Chargers 4.5, no
I feel like
brainer.
they're baiting us, right? Like they want
Oh
people.
God,
I don't know.
It's the
Toaster.
Chargers. That's the part that everybody forgets is it's the
It's true.
Chargers. So
It's true.
when they're baiting us because it's the Chargers. And I'm hoping that last week, so that my picks work out for the entire year, got whatever that Chargers stigma was off their back, that terrible decision by Brandon Staley finally worked out for them, and they figure out that, hey, maybe we don't have to be morons 100% of the time. And the Broncos are their first one to test out this theory that we don't go for it on every single fourth down conversion, that we're going to lose. I get that the numbers actually told Staley to go for it on fourth down. You could give me all the numbers in the world, and I can make them tell you whatever the fuck I want them to tell you. 0.2% better win probability going for it and giving the Browns the ball in your own territory was an absolutely ludicrous decision. So they're lucky to be alive. Keenan Allen maybe is back for this game, and he's not tweeting about his coach's terrible decisions from his house. Give me the Chargers because I mean, what did the Broncos have? 2 touchdowns through the air this year?
yeah.
What did
I
they
was just
have?
about to say, dude, they can't score a touchdown. Chargers score one touchdown, and Denver's just gonna kick a field goal, and they win by
Yeah,
fucking
I think I was exaggerating. I think they've given up 5 touchdowns and they've gained 5 touchdowns through 5 games. They're averaging 1-1, and Herbert's too dominant. Eckler found his way. They kind of found. I think that they found a system that might actually end up working for them. Take some pressure off of Herbert and destroy the Broncos on national television for
good.
one. It's not one last time. Actually, it is one last time because the London game they hit away at 6:30 in the morning, so you don't have to worry about that one on NFL Network.
Good. Kill this team and turn them into glue. I'm fucking over it.
I'm also on the Chargers, but I gotta admit, there's like a feeling I can't shake that this is going to be like a 3-point Chargers win. They're going to have to work real hard, and it's going to be another brutal game. It's going to be like 15-12, and the Chargers will pull it off, but not cover. But I still, ultimately here for my pick officially am taking the Chargers -4.5. There's zero reason um, outside of bad juju and whatever that you wouldn't take the Chargers to win this game by at least a touchdown. So sorry, Josh. I hope this is the nail in the Broncos coffin. And we don't have to really talk about them much more the rest of the way.
Yeah, don't apologize, man. I'm ready for hockey season.
But I'm on the Chargers as well. So all three of us are on the Chargers and the Eagles.
And for the record, this is not like we're
I was gonna say Russ is also on for hockey season. I think his last mantra was "Let's glide."
Yeah, let's go.
I still can't believe he said Broncos country, let's ride after that awful fucking loss in the post game. He's like, Broncos country, let's ride. Like, you're such a douche.
He just has no fucking self-awareness.
That's what I want to know. I genuinely want to like pull him aside in a perfect world. If I had a genie bottle, one of my wishes would be a one-on-one conversation with him with a lie detector test, and just being like, is this your normal self, or are you just so worried about your brand image that this is who you are now? And I just want to know because I
What is his
can't tell.
brand though? Like his brand is just like TB12 actually has something. I'm sorry, I'm lost about how he's all about his brand because I don't know what his brand fucking is.
It's wannabe Tom. Like
It's
he legit his social media. He did a social media thing like a couple weeks ago that shot for shot was literally exactly like Tom's thing from like a few weeks before that. Like he is 100% just trying to copy Tom, and I don't know if it's like him. I don't know if it's like Sierra. I don't know if it's his team. Like, because like Sierra like clearly knows how to
Ciara.
brand herself. Like she's been a celebrity for a very long time. And I'm not saying it's her that why he's struggling. I'm not saying that at all. But like, who is in his ear with all of this shit? Because he is so disconnected from football that it's like, where are we? Like, what are we doing? Like, what world are we living in that you're getting paid $230 million and you can't even throw a fucking football? Like, you can, but you can't.
He's got a torn lat, bro. He's got a
I
torn
think
lat.
it's John Elway in his ear.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I just get mad. So Bills Chiefs, that game's gonna be really fucking good. What do you guys think of that game?
Is this your bonus?
He's just taking advantage. He's just like, I got the clicker.
I
let's
got
move the
deflect.
hell
Yeah,
on."
we're keeping this moving. Fuck the Broncos.
Okay, wait. Is this your bonus pick? Because you technically need to lead us.
This
Sure.
is my bonus pick.
Oh yeah, there
This
you
is
go.
Toaster's.
Yeah.
Okay. Bills and Chiefs. What do you got, Toaster?
I think that the Bills absolutely destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they still didn't show me that they were necessarily as dominant as we thought they were going to be. I think this whole season's been a little disappointing as far as thinking they're as dominant as they were going to be. They owe the Chiefs one, and giving it less than a field goal, I think that they're going to say, we're going to assault somebody in Giha Stadium, and it's going to not be frowned upon or lead to, a police report this time. So give me the Bills over the Chiefs by 3.
I had to think about that for a second, and I forgot that the Chiefs have the wackest stadium name ever for such an intimidating home crowd.
Sorry, Giha at Arrowhead Stadium. Just what is it? Empower Field at Mile High. We don't want to get rid of our history.
That is some
It's not as bad as
redneck
Assumption
cowboy
Stadium,
sounding.
which is no longer Heinz Field.
That's a travesty
Christ.
too. But that just sounds so southern. Welcome to Giha Stadium.
Yeah, but it's in the Midwest.
I know. That's what even adds to it. But Kansas City fans, they identify with Southerners more than Northerners. Let's be real. Let's be real.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you know what? I know we're not picking this one, but I'm super fucking stoked for this game, and I think the Bills are going to get one back on the Chiefs for sure. So I would be with you on this pick. Chiefs just haven't shown me much. I know you said we've been disappointed in the Bills a little bit, but the Bills have still, even when they don't look absolutely dominant, not going to punt or kick a single time in a game, they still have looked pretty fucking good. So yeah, I like this pick as well. J-Rob, who you got for your bonus?
Kind of parlay or kind of doing a little combo here so I can talk shit about Kenny Pickett. I love the Bucks at -8.5 because I think the Steelers are garbage right now. Absolute garbage. Dumpster fire.
Steelers.
Might as well call them the Broncos.
It's for real. They're the prize trash of the AFC North. I just don't think Kenny Pickett's it, man. I've never seen one play from a new quarterback entering a game being oh, first time in the NFL, let's see what we got here, and it just wasn't it for me. It just, nothing about him sells me on him making a difference on that team. TJ Watt's out, and yeah, I think this is a game that the Bucks will probably, I know 8.5 is a big spread, but I think they'll handle it very easily. Should I give Tomlin more credit? Sure, but yeah, I just think the Steelers aren't in a good place right now, and yeah, Bucks by 8.5.
Yeah, I know Mitch hasn't been good, but there's no way you can, with a straight face, say right now that Kenny Pickett is a better NFL quarterback than Mitch Trubisky is. I know Pickett threw for 327 yards. It was on 56 dropbacks. No, man, he's not it. At least for right now, he is not it. I will reserve judgment on the kid for at least a little bit. But yeah, I'm with you on that one for sure.
I'm not. I have not been impressed by the Bucks offense. Maybe
Fair.
this is their get right game, but 8.5 is pretty big for a team that the most points they put up was 31, and that was when they lost by 10. They've been in that 20-point area.
But couldn't this easily be a 20 to 6 game?
I mean, it easily could be a 38-3 game like last week. But Pickett has some fight in him. Those receivers are too damn good. There's too much opportunity for the Steelers to score. I am not a. I respect you guys, but I still think that 8.5 is a lot to give to Tom Brady, who lost to the Falcons last week. If he didn't get a very generous, maybe the second most generous roughing the passer penalty from that
He's
week.
ever received.
Yeah. So I don't think that this spread's as big as or the game will be as lopsided as the spread shows. But I agree with you that Tomlin's probably not making it back to 500 this year with Kenny Pickett as a starting quarterback.
I was just a year too late or early on my bold prediction from last year that the Steelers wouldn't finish. Anyway, all right. My bonus pick is the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Cardinals are 2.5-point favorites, and I'm going with the Seahawks. I haven't tweeted it out yet, but I spent a good portion of my day updating the nerd rankings today. These teams are neck and neck, and I think with how Geno Smith has played, with what we've seen from the Cardinals defense, the fact that this game is in Seattle and everyone is going to be all juiced up, I think this one could be, not necessarily back to like the days of old with, people going to Seattle and just getting destroyed, but the Cardinals still without DeAndre Hopkins and what we've seen from their offense. I think a 3-point spread is easily coverable for the Seahawks because I think they're going to win outright. So I've got the Seahawks and Geno in this one, plus 2.5. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong, but I think you're going to be right on this one.
Really? Oh, see, I think to me this is a must-win game for the Cardinals just to be able to.
When has this team showed you they can win a must-win game?
But like, Geno's been looking good, but like, are you really going to like put full faith in Geno getting it done? Like, I don't know.
Not long term, but like,
I think
ride the hot hand.
I feel like the Cardinals look at this game, and this could be just be it's always speculation, but I feel like the Cardinals look at this game as if we can be 500 with getting DeAndre Hopkins back, that is the biggest win they could possibly have. Like, I was not expecting them to be even close to 500 before getting DeAndre Hopkins back. So if they can get to 500 before getting D-Hop back, I think that's a big win for them. So yeah, I like the Cardinals here.
Before the season, I would have given them the Seahawks easily. This game, I know Seattle's not quite what it used to be from a home field advantage, but they're playing hot right now. They're scoring a ton of points. The Cardinals defense isn't showing me that they're gonna, put the
Geno's gonna
kibosh on
carve those motherfuckers
anybody.
up.
And yeah, I mean, they've scored in the last 4 weeks. The Seahawks have scored more points than the Cardinals have in regulation in any one game. So I like this pick. This is me saying that the Cardinals, you said, needed to get right game. They need to get to 500. I think that they're still reeling after what happened to them last week. Just the mental aspect of, am I blaming am I blaming Cliff? Am I blaming Kyler? Am I blaming Matt Amendola? Like, there's just blame all the way to
Are
go
we
around.
blaming Call of Duty?
The only way they get right is when they get D-Hop back, and unfortunately they play the Vikings that week that Modern Warfare drops. So we'll see how that goes.
Guys, you know what I found out today about Geno that honestly blew my mind? Does anybody know Geno's full name?
Jonathan?
That would actually be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Is it some like crazy like Greek god name or something?
No, but it's Eugene. Eugene Smith III.
That Northwest.
Yeah, that ain't a quarterback name. I'm glad he went by Geno.
He's not a Northwest boy. He's from Florida. He's from Miami. Eugene. Oh God, I'm all about it. I am on the Eugene train until the fucking tracks fall off or something. But I'm all about it.
Not worried about Penny being out for the year.
Nah, they'll be fine.
Kenneth Walker looked pretty good. So
Yeah, they'll be fine. I mean, do I think the Seahawks are good? No, I think they're very bad. But Gino is playing well right now until he shows that he can't at least keep them competitive. I'm with the Seahawks on
Yeah,
this one at
and
home.
I think we've got a avid listener that's still really hitting the home underdog divisional games, so
Yeah,
he'll appreciate that pick.
yeah, there you go. All right, that does it for the preview for Week 6. Does anybody have any other games they want to mention here before we get out?
I'm good without mentioning another game, but if there is a Jerome Berger stat, then I'm all for it, J-Rob, because I've realized that I might need to start betting less on the teams and more on which official is in charge of covering the spread or not covering the spread, because he's basically set the spread for the last 2 weeks.
So you're gonna love this stat then. Since 2016, home division team favorites are 18-3 on money line when Jerome
Hold on.
Boger. So when it's a home division, it's a division game, when the home
Yep.
team is favorite,
Okay.
they're 18-3 on the money line when Boger is officiating the game, and he was the Chiefs' head official when there was some interesting calls made those games. Granted, one of them was against the Chiefs, but still some sussy calls. And then he's 12-7-2 against the spread under that same parameter. So if you've got a home division favorite and Boger's there, hammer it.
All right.
Who's he reffing for this week?
How do they post that?
I'll look
pretty
it up.
early?
I'll look it up as Kingdom signs us
Oh,
off.
one more thing. Matt Rule got fired. So
Oh yeah.
do the Panthers cover -11 against the Rams just purely off of the momentum of like we're here to prove that it was the coach's problem and not a team? Like teams tend to get motivated when a coach gets fired because it's like, hey, it's time to prove it.
Well, they're starting PJ Walker, right?
I
But
for
he
this one?
tore it
Not
up
sure.
in the XFL or the AAF or whichever one he played for.
I feel like 11's way too much for the Rams.
Yeah.
I know the Panthers are bad, but
But their defense isn't awful, and the Rams' offensive line is awful. So I would be scared of that spread unless Jerome Berger is the ref. I'm trying to find that right now.
if it's not posted yet, it might not be posted until closer to game time. I'm not sure, but otherwise,
These guys have day jobs. They need to know where they're going. He's doing Jags at Colts.
Jags at Colts. Okay, division game. Are the Colts favored in that one?
Colts are home favorites.
Colts are favorites.
Oh,
There you
hammer
go.
the
Take it.
Colts this
There you
week,
go.
boys, girls. Hammer the Colts. All
And we
right.
were surprised that they were favorited, so it's even better.
Yeah, exactly. Oh shit. Okay. Well, that will do it. It was good to be back. It's good to be back, guys. Good to talk to you
America,
about football.
but
again.
also España, and maybe Italy.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Definitely not long-term America for sure. But all right. I will I'm sure give you my thoughts about tomorrow's game on Twitter as it happens. Well, actually probably not. I don't like to tweet during Bears games actually. I'd rather just like rage text. But anyway, Week 5, boys, is in the books. The season's moving. I had like a moment this morning where I was like, "Ooh, that's 5 of 17. That's a big percentage of
That
the
sandwich
games
is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah. But all right, we will get out there and we'll post our picks for you guys. Somebody has to know our record. One of the two of you, because
Yeah,
I
we'll
sure
get it.
should know. But
I think
we'll get it
BetMGM's
shaken out.
pretty confident in our record. Yeah,
what'd you say?
I think BetMGM's pretty confident in what our record is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're loving my picks, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Wait, J-Rob.
Damn it. I was hoping you forgot. Broncos country. Let's ride the season into the ground.
Boom. Love it.
Can't believe you're wearing that hat.
You know what?